You're listening to Real Restaurant Radio, the show that inspires up-and-coming restaurant and bar owners, along with current operators, to pursue their passion in the restaurant business. I am your host, Kostas Lazanis, and I'm joined, as always, with my good friend, Cary Hodson. Let us guide you through the process of being a successful owner and teach you how to make an impact in today's culinary world. Welcome back to another episode of Real Restaurant Radio, episode 17. We're turned on the camera over here, so is that a little intimidating?
No,
a little bit. I'm a little intimidated. We haven't recorded in a long time.
I'm friends with Kostas, so I'm used to cameras being around.
Yeah, right. I know. Every time I show up and to Intrinsic, I'm always carrying my big camera with me and filming everything. So I think you've gotten used to it, right?
Mostly.
Okay. I mean, you're doing all the filming stuff now, and you got a new camera too. What kind of camera did you get?
What did I get? I stuck with Nikon. It's a D800.
Okay. All right. So I see you're upgrading your camera gear, trying to get on that level. I've noticed, like, with all of your Instagram and all of your Facebook photography, all those things, like, you can just tell, like, the quality is increased.
Good to hear.
So,
yeah.
I mean, quality does count, especially whenever you're trying to, like, put out something that's, like, going to, like, resonate with people.
I didn't buy the best camera. I just bought something that I thought was a little better than my skill set. So I actually went the used route, and I got it mainly for still photography, not a whole lot of video.
Well, luckily though, when it works with big cameras like that, a lot of people who are like I've noticed are always like trying to get the newest camera. So buying like a used camera actually is a great way, and they hold their value. They really don't like break down, over time.
It's like buying a car. As soon as you walk out, it loses,
so much
20% of its value. So.
Well, today we're talking it's a little boring. You're like, Kostas, this is boring. They don't want to hear about it. But we just wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight into all the permits that you guys are going to have to deal with, whether it's just inspections and renewals and stuff like that, or just getting started and opening up the doors. And a lot of you guys are going to be very unaware. I know I was unaware of some of these permits. What about you, Cary? Were you pretty much aware of the big ones, right, are obvious?
Yeah, I knew the big ones, but I was unaware of a lot of it. And, looking back, I kind of think that was a good thing, because I'd hear that I needed another permit, and I'd be like, okay, that's probably the last one, just one more permit, fine. But if I kind of knew about it all up front, I could have planned better, and it would have been cheaper, and we would have opened faster, I believe. So,
again, that's like the whole purpose of the podcast, is like to make your like destination of owning a restaurant or operating a restaurant as seamless and as easy as possible.
First off, how do I drink this?
So, I'm sorry. So today's episode, I actually hooked Cary up with some awesome Greek coffee. So it's actually served in a small demi-tasse espresso cup.
Kind of looks like espresso, but it's a little muddier.
A little muddier, yeah. So they actually pour the coffee grounds straight into the cup, and the grounds are grounded down to like a really fine powder. And like 98% of them settle down to the bottom, but like 2% are suspended in the solution. So you almost get like this like full-bodied flavor. So think of it as an unfiltered beer.
Sure, I'll try it. It's fruitier than I thought.
So this particular brand is actually spiced with cardamom.
Okay, that's what it is.
The cardamom in there. Gotcha. Craft coffee. Drinking by a craft beer creator.
That'll wake you up.
A little different, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So we sell those at the restaurant. Just a little plug in there. Opa Greek Taverna, located in Rowlett, Texas, serving the best Greek coffee. DFW. Do you ever put cardamom in your beer?
Probably Greek coffee in Rowlett, right?
Yeah, for sure. Do you?
Put what in my
cardamom
in a beer?
Mm-hmm.
I have before. I did a Belgian
in a wheat beer, or
Belgian
like
stout, actually.
A Belgian stout with a little cardamom.
Yeah,
so it's like a little floral. It's nice.
This would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Might have to do a Greek coffee stout.
A Greek coffee stout. I like it. Yeah. So in Texas, if you want to sell beer or you want to sell liquor, you are gonna have to get some different permits. Cary and I both have different permits because we both are two different style of businesses.
Yeah, you were going through like this list of just TABC permits, and it took you 5 minutes to find yours.
Yeah, there's a lot of different types. Whether you're like a 7-Eleven selling packaged beer,
right,
or if you're like distilling a spirit, making your own whiskey.
What'd you end up with?
So I chose, we're playing bingo over here. I had MB, which is a mixed beverage permit. Actually, it's the RM, which is a mixed beverage permit with a FB attached to it, which is food and beverage certificate. So that's called an RM. Anyway, really complicated.
That makes sense.
Well, there's actually third parties out there, and watch out because there's third parties out there that will basically like do all the work for you for a fee.
I mean, you have to give them the information. Basically, they drive to Arlington for you.
And they do all the sign-ups for you, and then they mail it back to you.
Right.
But I think it's better for you to go as yourself so you can really understand and have a full grasp of, what all it entails and meet your local TABC agent and have that relationship.
I think that's true. I mean, a lot of people will tell you that they have kind of the inside into that agency and they can make it work for you. They can't do anything that you can't do.
Absolutely.
I mean, TABC is not there to screw you. They're there to regulate, but they've been instructed to help businesses, not, we're their customer, so to speak.
Exactly. No, I agree 100%. I've always had nothing but great things with them. I've dealt with them on a continuous basis for multiple temporary permits to go out and do different things. So they're just like anybody else. You work with them, you play ball, and it's all gravy.
I mean, if you follow the rules
and
follow get your permits in on time and
have the money. That's all it really boils down to is money, right?
A check and
a check.
And if you wait to file, that check gets bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because they have to, stop what they're doing to take care of your permit.
So my particular permit, and I was just looking over here at the fee schedule because it's been so long, but just to get started with the restaurant to sell beer and cocktails, and also just a restaurant, you're looking at spending about almost $7,000 up front.
Wow.
$6,600.
Is that a lifetime permit?
You know what? It's so funny. Basically, it is for a lot of restaurants because they want 2 years up front. They could easily cut it down to $3,300 annually, but they know that a lot of restaurants are going to go out within the first 2 years. So they're going to collect their money up front the day before you even open up.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to them. Like, how smart is that?
I don't know if that was the thought process behind it, but
I mean, it makes
the
sense.
Same amount of money and do half the amount of work.
I'm thinking that why would you want to get 2 years up front? Like, I'm thinking that somebody somewhere said, hey, let's go ahead and collect up front because we know that there's a high failure rate in bars and nightclubs and restaurants. I think that's my conspiracy for the day. Cary thinks the world's flat, and I think that the
TABC's out to get you.
Exactly.
Get your money.
So, and you know what? And that's just like the tip of the iceberg because then you also still got to pay your local city as well. And I think my city is $375.
I think mine's $1,000.
Is it $1,000?
Yeah, you have to pay the state, the county, and the city.
So tons of barriers to entry there.
Right.
Just to get your beer and wine permit,
right,
and liquor permit.
I actually have 3 licenses.
So tell me about your licenses because I just talked about mine. Mine's the mixed beverage permit,
which allows you to sell liquor
and beer and wine.
Right.
And then yours is the
BG license. I think of it as beer and grapes. It's a
Okay.
beer and wine license.
Uh-huh.
So we can sell beer and wine for on-site consumption and to go. If you end up getting a liquor license or an RM license, you lose your right to sell beer to go.
And then what about to brew beer? Is that another license you had to get, or is that the same license?
It's another license. It's a brew pub license. It goes underneath the BG license.
And I paid almost $7,000 just to get started. How much? What was your fees for everything?
I mean, I guess the food and beverage one is $776, $2,200 for the brew pub license, and then I paid that much. $6,000 for the no, that's the RM with FB. I don't even see mine.
No. Oh, there it is, right there. Is that
okay.
it?
Okay, $2,500.
$2,500.
Significantly cheaper to do beer and wine than it is to do liquor.
But once you add the brew pub and all the other things, it all adds up, right?
We're probably neck and neck, though. Why do you think that is? Why is it more expensive to sell liquor?
I think because liquor has, I guess, a higher tendency for intoxication because you can drink. It's such a concentrated dosage of alcohol, and I'm sure throughout history there's probably been a higher like.
Well, you're not a shot bar, but you're probably, since you're stuck in the same permit.
But nevertheless, yeah, exactly.
You're getting kind of roped into that.
Exactly. Yeah. One thing I was thinking, I don't know the exact answer to this, but I was thinking it also is kind of sad because like we pay the same amount of money as like Jerry Jones pays at the Cowboy Stadium.
Oh.
I mean, it's license, right?
It's not about volume.
It's not about volume.
Would you want it to be?
I think at my level, probably yes. Since I'm a small business owner, obviously as I would grow, my outlook on that would probably change.
I don't know. I think that's opening a can of worms because then they're going to have more incentive to audit you.
That's yeah. You know what? You're 100% correct.
More paperwork and more,
You're 100% correct on that.
Big Brother and reporting and
sure. Okay.
I already report all of the beer we make to the feds and the state, and I guess with that comes reporting how much we sell. Do you have to like count your liquor bottles or?
I don't have to. I guess because I don't manufacture it like you do.
Okay.
Since you have the brew pub, I know you told me the story you went through the other day being audited. I have yet to be audited, but we keep all of our files, all of our receipts exactly. But it's great because I can only order my stuff through distributors, and all those distributors have all of my paperwork on file and all the things. So
right,
I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be if you're. I think if you're following the rules, you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah,
if you're not giving away a bunch of stuff and selling stuff under the table, like it's not. It's. I mean, you'd risk your whole business on it. Like, what's
not
the
worth
point
it
of that?
It's not worth it. And that's just another thing. So make sure, if you are running a restaurant and you're running a bar, just be careful because you do sell someone underage, or one of your employees sells somebody underage, or whatever the thing may be, because they have like sting operations where they'll send TABC agents into your establishment and order something. They'll send an underage agent anyway. Just know that. Got to follow the rules because it can destroy your business.
Well, and encourage your servers to get their serving license, right?
Yes,
it's another permit.
I think in the state of Texas, the way it works, and you can probably help me with this, but I think if 100% of your staff is TBC certified, that shifts the liability from the company to the individual. Did you hear that somewhere?
You can sue anybody you want.
Of course,
at the end of the day.
Yes.
So it is good that. Well, the immediate benefit is that they are educated on why we check IDs, right? It seems kind of obvious, though, right? Don't serve underage people. But signs of intoxication and what to do in those scenarios. Do we call them an Uber? Do we talk to a manager? What if they came in drunk? That kind of stuff.
Sure.
The other immediate benefit is tell your insurance company, all of my servers are going to be required to be TABC certified, and then your insurance fee might be lower.
Yeah, so all those things help out.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't talk about insurance fees on here. I didn't even get to that. I'm glad you brought that up. So anyway, that's enough about the alcohol talk. Just hopefully that will help get you guys kind of like pointing in the right direction. Just at least know, hey, I'm saving up money for a restaurant. I'm gonna need $10K for some licensing just to sell the alcohol.
Right. Yeah.
And so just budget for that while you're saving.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like with any of this, it's paperwork is just part of the process. And if you're not good at it, maybe you should find someone who is good at it. We've talked in past episodes about, I'm really passionate about being in the kitchen or on the floor and talking to customers. But I'm bad at accounting, then hire an accountant so you can focus on what you're doing.
So in that case, the companies we talked about earlier probably may be a good something you can look into.
Maybe a consultant that can guide you through not just that part, but all of it.
I remember in the beginning they were asking so many questions. There was like a ton of stuff that you had to come up with to apply for a permit for alcohol, because I guess there's like pimps and like drug lords, and I'm just saying like it's a. They really vet you out to make sure that you're.
They want to know where your money came from to pay for the permit.
All those things.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a little. I don't know how it is in the rest of the United States, but just in the state of Texas,
right? A consultant's not going to be able to get that information you're going to have to go to your bank and get those statements. You're still going to have to do a lot of it. I would encourage you to do it yourself.
I'm with you too, Cary. If you're going to do it, you need to be involved.
Right.
100%.
Mm-hmm. But having a consultant or, doing a quick Google search or meeting with the city ahead of time and trying to get a list of everything that you're going to end up needing, I think would be really important.
That's all very, very good stuff and very true. Anyway, so you guys take all that, digest all that, and hopefully that will help you guys out. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let's move on to some of the other things we got to do.
Yeah, I've got a whole list. What's on yours?
So, yeah, right. So just something that, not necessarily these are necessarily big things, but they're just like small things that just eat at your bottom line, and things that you've got to be prepared for. The fire extinguishers, you have to get those inspected, and you have to have so many per square footage. You have to have a certain class of fire extinguishers.
Type K for your greasy areas, right?
Yeah, those are the big silver ones,
right?
And then your typical red ones.
Those are for walls on fire.
And I think even the red ones, there's certain brands of the red ones. I think TABC. I'm not sure, but you can't just go to Walmart and buy the fire extinguisher there, like.
I got mine from the guys who do our hood inspections.
Okay. And usually
they come and do it all at the same time. Our sprinkler, hood.
Ours as well.
Yeah.
You just have to, I guess, type in on Google just vent hood inspection or fire extinguisher inspection for your business, and you'd find probably a list of those in your area. And I would call 4 or 5 of them and get some quotes and, just see how reputable they are as well.
Yeah, they'll have to come check out the space. And guess what you need, and you have to know what equipment's going to be under that hood, so they know what size tank to install, and
so having somebody knowledgeable, all those things. My guys are actually from Egypt, so they cut me a deal. I feed them some euros and domadas and stuff.
Okay.
Oh, this is just like my country.
Yeah, it's funny.
And I'm like, oh, you guys rock. So
yeah,
really good stuff.
That's funny. Beer and barbecue is a good barter tool, but it doesn't work all the time.
That's all right. At least it kind of keeps you kind of cool with everybody, at least.
What type fire extinguisher is for when your hair's on fire?
Are you referring to Saganaki?
I'm just teasing.
We've got do not tell my insurance agent about that. The Saganaki is a cheese we actually catch on fire at the restaurant. So knock on wood, I haven't caught anybody on fire in 5 years, but we'll see.
That's why nobody has beards at your place, right?
That's true. What else you got there?
One weird one I didn't know about was like the backflow preventer.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to get it inspected every
year. I
had
no idea what that was. They're like, you need backflow preventer on your soda machine and on your ice machine.
Why?
And I said, what? What's a back? I mean, I'm no plumber.
I mean, it's backflow preventer, like so it prevents backflow. But what does that mean and why?
I don't know yet.
Oh,
Do
okay.
you know yet?
Yeah, they're just trying to keep any liquid that came out of the pipes from going back into the main system. So it's to protect other consumers of the water system down the line. So in an instance where you have a tea machine, you might be, I don't know how high the risk is. Like, I feel like they're over.
But it's happened one time.
I don't know. I've never heard of anything
someplace
happening.
In Iowa, it happened one time.
You got an ice machine that's pressurized, and then like the pressure on the system drops, but the pressure in the machine and the ice machine or tea machine, whatever, is higher. It's going to push back into the system. And if it was contaminated by something, now they've contaminated their entire water system.
I see. Okay.
So this device makes water only flow into your restaurant and not out of your restaurant.
And it's a $400 device, so keep that in mind.
Depends on the size of the pipe.
How much was yours?
We had to get one for the main water line, like 1 inch or whatever water line coming in. That was a little more.
Wow.
And then we have one on our ice and tea machine. You can run multiple devices after it. Yeah, which is good.
Anyway, so yeah, just Google that, and you'll just see the pricings on that. It's a backflow preventer.
Right. So your plumber will put it in. Hopefully your landlord pays for it. Probably not. And then once a year you have to get an inspection. Yeah. And it's, I don't know, $75 per.
About like that,
probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what I pay.
And they come in and they do a test on it, supposedly. Or if it's behind a bunch of dishes on a glass rack, they
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, exactly. They test it.
They said it was good, and you give them their money.
You give them your money.
Yeah. So, moving on from that one, you doing all right over there?
It's always money.
Did you drink the bottom of that coffee?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna need to. I'm gonna have to keep up with you on this episode. I don't know, Cary. This is so funny. What else do we talk about? Grease traps. You know, in my city, they just passed an ordinance where the grease trap has got to get cleaned every 3 months.
3 months. Wow.
So
I think we do 6.
Yeah. So different cities. So one thing I learned about in business school, not that I learned a lot, but one thing that I learned about is that the more regulations that there are, the better it is for big businesses because it increases the barriers to entry.
Sure. Yeah.
So the more regulation that you have, it's better actually if you're an established business, which sucks for us little guys. But you know, if it was Olive Garden, they'd want the inspection done every week because they can afford to pay it, and then they would put us out of business type thing. Which,
kind of.
If you understand, but anyway,
I feel you. You asked me like, how do we pay for all these? I was like, well, make as much money as you can, and hope you have some left over.
I know that's like very thoughtful, isn't it? Like that's just how. It's crazy.
But other, larger corporations, I suppose, have. Maybe a better game plan than we do.
Yeah, it's just the economies of scale, and that's the name of the game. That's why businesses fail, not because their product sucks. It's just because they're not selling enough of it to cover all of these expenses. And this is just the tip of the iceberg that we are rattling off. But yeah, the grease trap, basically what they do is, first of all, you have to get it installed. I don't know how much that costs to get one installed because my restaurant actually already came with one in there. I took over a restaurant.
500 gallons, 1,000 gallons.
I think it was 750 is what mine is.
And you break up the concrete and you put in this giant tank in the ground.
Essentially, yeah. I'm sure it's like $15,000 to $20,000. I bet.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you that's what
Easy.
they go for.
Right.
You guys got to let us know. Send us an email. You haven't sent us any emails yet, so we don't even know if you exist.
I'll email you.
Okay. Thank you. But yeah, so they come by once every 3 months, and they give you like 3 pieces of paper, and you sign one, and then you give one to the city, and you keep one for your records.
Mm-hmm.
And
they have a trip ticket too that they mail you. So they take that wastewater and dump it somewhere
where it's certified, whatever it is.
Yeah, at the.
But
I don't know.
What's sad is like a little restaurant like me that has I do mostly grilled food and mostly oven baked food, and a majority of the grease that comes from restaurants is mostly from the fryers. The fryer puts out a lot of grease.
Yeah, you'd think we would have more, but we collect all of our grease out of our pit and put it in a separate receptacle, and we actually sell it to a company that makes biodiesel out of it.
There you go. Yeah.
So we don't send a lot of grease down our trap, but. Then you shut down or you take over. Someone takes over a restaurant and they put in 20 fryers and start making catfish all day. Then all of a sudden there is a need for that. So the city makes you put in the grease trap.
And I think what will happen is some business owners just will never clean their grease trap out for years and years and years, and then it overflows and gets into the system, into the city's sewer and all these things.
Clogs it up. Mm-hmm.
All those things. So
yeah, it's nasty.
It sucks, whenever you have somebody regulate you, it always sucks, and they always will over-regulate to prevent anything from ever happening. Yeah. And we pay for it. So $375 every three months is just
part of the game.
Part of the game, and make sure that you're factoring all that into the equation of the price of that grilled cheese sandwich that you're selling.
Mm-hmm.
What other monthly fees or dues? Pandora. We talked about music fees and licensing. I know you pay ASCAP and BMI because you got all that live music.
And CSAC. Yeah, there's 3 agencies.
3 agencies. There's probably 4 that you probably don't even know about.
Probably
yet.
a 4th one.
They're probably.
You want to start an agency?
I know, right?
We start collecting from all the restaurants worldwide.
Goodness.
It's expensive. It's probably about $4,000 a year once it's all said and done. And they give you a custom quote, right? So it's based on how many performances you have a week, live performances you have a week. And you can pay them to play the radio, or you can pay a service like Pandora, Mood Media.
Yeah, just another fee. $4,000 you pay?
Probably, yeah.
That's crazy.
For 2 performances a week.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I switched over to the pen. So when you're playing music, if you're playing off your iPad, you might get away with it for a little while, but after a while, you'll start getting these letters. I think I got my first one after.
They start off friendly.
Yeah,
and then they get more and more aggressive.
exactly.
And you can push them off for a while. And honestly, I'd probably suggest that. If you can push them off for 6 months and not piss them off, like go ahead and get the quote, but then just like hold off, because once you start paying them, you're gonna always pay them. It's kind of like the music mafia, really. It's like you never see them; they don't actually provide any service to you, and I don't think that money goes, that those royalties actually make it to the musicians.
I don't think so. I think the musicians like sign a blank.
I'm not a fan of the system.
No. But I heard like very rarely. I think they
if
would
someone
never,
breaks my legs this week, you know what happened.
I don't know how much they would go through like the big company, like small companies like me. I don't know if they would be worth it to sue somebody small like me. But I know like
sure, they have an army of lawyers. Just that's what they do
on standby.
You know,
Yeah,
sitting
sending
at
out
their
letters.
keyboard and sending out letters. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, be careful on that, guys.
they got more time to put into it than you do, and they sure as hell know more about it than you do.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I've never heard of anyone beating him.
Yeah,
So
you looked into it, I bet.
yeah, I mean,
quite a bit.
And then every restaurant or coffee shop that opens up near me makes
call you?
the calls and say, do we really have to pay this? We've all been through it.
Yeah,
So just do it.
just do it. Unfortunately,
Sorry. What about like did you get an EIN number or the?
all the corporation stuff.
Yeah.
I did all that when I filed for the S corp.
That way you don't have to pay taxes on certain foods for resale.
Yeah,
Right.
but how much was that? Do you remember?
The EIN, man, I don't think it costs anything.
No?
To
Okay.
get it's an employer identification number.
Yeah, I think we should probably dive into that into another podcast, just talking about setting up a corporation and all the things that are involved with your tax number and all those things.
LLC, S corp.
I think people would
sole
benefit from that.
proprietorship.
Yeah.
Maybe we might need a guest to come talk about it.
Yeah. Bring in a lawyer.
Yeah.
That's it, man. Yeah, I think that wraps up basically. That's a 30-minute podcast right there for you guys. I hope you learned some stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think we learned anything today. We were just kind of talking to you guys about all the different things. But did you learn anything, Cary?
I was reminded.
Yeah.
How much there's to
Unfortunately.
do. And if as entrepreneurs, you always have that itch to go do something else or repeat what you're doing somewhere else. And
To go through all that all over again. It's like almost like
Right.
reliving your past.
right, I'll have to listen to all of our podcasts to remember how to open a restaurant.
Okay, I know this podcast was semi-boring, just talking about licensing and fees and stuff like that, but not all of them can be fun and exciting, and we are trying to educate you and entertain you. So I guess this was more of a
There's beer.
okay. All right, next podcast we'll have to crack open the beer and have a little bit more fun with that. But until then, check out our website, realrestaurantradio.com. You can find out more about me or Cary. You can email us on the website, realrestaurantradio.com. And we'd love to hear about you guys. I can't wait till we can actually read off some emails from viewers. That'd be kind of cool. Like, hey, Cary, what do you think about this? Or Kostas, what do you think about this? I think that'd be really awesome to have on the podcast.
Yeah, I think so too.
Anything else, my friend, before we head out?
Yeah, cheers.
All right, cheers, guys. We'll see you guys in the next episode of Real Restaurant Radio, all right?